Today we are going to be talking Sinners. If you have not seen the movie already, I definitely will be getting into some spoilers. You know, mind you, the movie did come out in April 2025, which was some time ago, but just wanted to put that out there. I'm excited to talk about this. When I asked you guys in my community tab if we should talk Sinners, you guys say yes. Here we are today in July. So this video is coming out right in time for the HBO Max release. Well, previously called Max, now called HBO Max again. That's for another day. Pretty much, Sinners is about twins Smoke and Stack who buy a building to create a juke joint in their hometown of Mississippi. They do this in an attempt to create a new life for themselves, as they do come from a very troubled past, but unfortunately this night at the juke turns into complete chaos when vampires infiltrate their party. What's good, guys? It's Alissa. If you're new here, hello. First and foremost, y'all know I gotta get the formalities out of the way. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky. All that information is in my description box down below. We have been doing TikTok live streams pretty much every single day watching Love Island. I do have a Love Island video coming out once the finale is over. That has been very fun. We're gonna get into a lot more live streams watching shows and movies, so please stay tuned for that. That's mostly gonna be happening over on Twitch and TikTok. I do have a Sims channel. I do have a lifestyle channel, so make sure you guys subscribe to those channels, as I am frequent over there as well, not just here. And of course, I always have to shout out my patrons over on Patreon. You guys have been supporting me since the beginning of my journey, and I am nothing but absolutely grateful for you guys that take that extra step to just show your support in everything that we do over here. So hearts, kisses. But let's get into it. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I thought this movie was gonna suck. Yes, I did. I thought this movie was gonna suck. I went to go see a movie called Mickey 17, and the Sinners trailer played before that movie. I was like, I don't know about this one, y'all, because I feel like in the trailer they definitely played up the action more than anything, and that simply was not what the movie was, but we'll get into that later. And then also just the lack of the characters that they showed in the trailer. One, the trailer was just completely misleading, so I was under the impression that I was not gonna like this movie. As time went on and the movie was released and people were like, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen, I was like, okay, prove me wrong. I need to go see this movie. So what do? Buy a ticket. The theater was far as hell. I'm in Dallas, and I did go see it in its original format. Movie was life changing, but again, I'll get into that later. But one thing I can say that was true to the title of the movie was that this movie was full of sin. So let's get through it. I'm gonna go through my pros and my favorite thing about the movie before we get into anything else. One of the biggest pros of the movie, in my opinion, was the fact that the movie was grounded in family and community more than anything. Like I said, the trailer really played up on the action, so I was going into this thinking that it was going to be an action movie, and that was simply not the case. We got most of the action towards the end of the movie. The majority of the movie is literally Smoke and Stack, who are the twins and the main characters of the movie, going through Mississippi and meeting all the people that they know, that they knew, and that they meet, and bringing them all together to create a place where everyone in their hometown in Mississippi can come together and just have a night to feel like they are free. In this process, they do pick up their little cousin, whose name is Sammie. Sammie, who also goes by Preacher Boy, is in kind of a internal battle with himself. He wants to appease his father, but he also wants to play his music. He loves blues music. He plays the guitar, but his dad is not really for that secular music stuff, so he wants him to come see the light and join the church fully. So I feel like this movie really takes us on a journey with every single character from start to finish, and none of the characters start away and end the exact same way. I feel like everyone goes on a journey where they come out of this whole thing completely different from where they started. All right, hi Jeremiah, welcome. So we're going to be talking about Sinners today. I know it's been some time, but at the same time it hasn't been, because it's streaming on Max now starting July 4th.
I'm broke. I don't have Max.
Oh. Well, you know, it's okay. I haven't watched it on Max yet, but did you see it in theater?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters, and next is 123 Movies.
So, you know, there was a period where you couldn't watch the movie when it wasn't on streaming. I mean, you could have rented it, But I agree. I did the same thing in
Yeah, when
preparation
people
for it.
were recording it with their phones.
Exactly. Exactly. So you saw Sinners. Did you like it?
I loved it. It surprised me for real.
Same. I would say for me, I wasn't thinking that it was going to be what it was. I feel like the trailer may have made me think it was going to be something else. And then I actually watched the movie and I was like, oh, I like this
The trailer
movie.
was corny. The trailer was corny. I don't like vampire movies because I think they're all corny. Like
Yeah,
My Babysitter Was a Vampire was the last thing I see with vampires.
that was so weak. That was a while ago. I would say, I forgot what I was going to go see. I think it was like Mickey 17. And that trailer came on and I can't lie. I literally turned and was like, that movie looks like it's going to suck. After you saw Sinners, I feel like there was a bunch of highs, a bunch of lows, a bunch of funny parts. That movie was very funny in ways that I was not expecting. But what was your
Yeah,
favorite part of Sinners when you saw it?
when Haley Steinfeld first came out, when Mary came up to Stack at the at the
At
train
the train
station.
station? Yeah. Why that part?
I was expecting her to say none of that because I don't. Okay, from this point, I've only seen her in like family friendly stuff. So
Right.
I've only seen her in
Bumblebee.
like Bumblebee and
Right.
Spider
Yeah.
Verse, and then whatever Shamik Moore is doing on Twitter nowadays.
Right.
So her talking about her cooter was definitely.
In his mouth or something. I was like,
Yeah, I didn't
whoa.
expect that. I
Yeah,
didn't
that
expect
took
that.
me. That threw me for sure. I was like,
The
oh.
spitting,
I feel
the
like that
spitting was
was,
another.
oh, the spitting.
She had just got engaged, so I'm just imagining her husband watching that movie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would say that part definitely threw me.
But I was like, Ryan Coogler might be on something.
I'm so weak. And so when you watched it, you said that was your favorite part because it caught you the most off guard. What
It
was your
was just hilarious.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny amongst other parts of the movie. What was your least favorite part of the movie? Because it was like a 2 hour and something minute runtime, so there's a lot to unpack after you finish it.
I think the ending. I don't. Not the ending, but kind of after the sun came up and they went back to like their normal lives. It was smoke. Yeah, it was smoke with. Well, actually, no, that was pretty awesome, but it was pretty like. At that point, I felt like the movie was kind of perfect the way it was going, but it's my least favorite, but it's really like a good needed part at the same time. I don't know.
Right.
It's like I'm 50-50 on it, and I don't have like many negatives on that movie.
Yeah.
So I just felt like I had to put something out there.
Yeah, I get that because it's like you kind of get everything you need after all the freaking highs. You meet everybody along the way, and then they fight the
Yeah,
vampires. It's like, I mean, we fought the vampires now, and now everybody that you love is like gone. So it's like it's just
yeah,
Sammie. It's just Smoke was the one that survived it in. It's just Sammie. It's just Smoke. So
yeah. The smoke ended up dying too.
he ended up exactly. So it was like, huh. So I get that. I get that for sure. Because I felt the same way. I felt like towards a certain part, burping after the sun came up. After the sun.
No.
No, wait.
This the unedited
No.
conversations that we be having.
Exactly. I feel like after the sun came up, it was kind of like you just have to wrap it up, right? And it's like all the conversations that they had in the beginning, it's like now Smoke gets reunited with his baby. He gets the revenge on the KKK. Sammie makes the decision to choose music and he lives on for a very long time without even having to be a vampire. It's kind of just like the wrap up, but I feel like the best part of the movie was the fact that it was like such a great ensemble community of like people and cast.
Yeah,
So it was like I miss my family. Like like are they really gone?
yes. There were some parts too where it did kind of go to corny vampire movie, but then
Like
it still
what?
worked. Like when they defeated the vampire, and then there was that part where Remick was like getting hurt, and everybody was just like
Yeah.
and catching fire. If that felt like something I see in a corny vampire movie, but it worked in this movie, so it
Okay.
didn't take away from it. Like they were able. I think that's one thing Ryan Coogler did best was he took those corny tropes and he did make it work better than like, let's say, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter would have.
I'm so weak. See, that's the thing. I feel like I haven't watched too many vampire movies, and the only one that I could think of is Twilight. So I'm like,
Another court
I don't have to exactly. I'm like, I don't have much to pull off from when it comes to vampire movies, zombie movies, or like that horror genre. I feel like that's not really my
Zombies is
thing.
another corny one too.
See?
Zombies is another corny one.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't really feel like I have much to pull from. So I can see that.
Yeah.
So maybe Sinners is like my introduction to that kind of stuff. So hearing you say that is very interesting. Now, Smoke was the twin that I was not expecting to actually be the more aggressive twin, as opposed to his counterpart and twin Stack. I kept asking myself, because Smoke was so hands-on in the way that he handled conflict, I was wondering, was Smoke more protective of Stack, or was he actually holding him back? And I would love to know what you guys think of that in the comments as well. Smoke was the one who we find out killed their father, who was very abusive to them, and they were actually running away from him. They joined the army. And so I think that we see throughout the movie that Smoke is actually the killer of them. He pistol whips Sammie, even though he wants the best for him. He's the one that puts his hands on Sammie the most and even pulls a gun on him and says that he's gonna kill him. And it's like, oh my God. He's the one that kills the snake in the back of the truck. Stack quite literally hands the knife over to Smoke to kill the snake. And Smoke is also the one to shoot the guy in the kneecaps or wherever he shot him when they were trying to steal from his truck. So Smoke is definitely the one that likes to send the message of don't mess with us more than Stack is. And I feel like Stack is definitely more prone to communicate. Like, if you guys watch Attack on Titan, you know how Armin would always be like, no, let me just talk to him, and we could come to a common ground. And Mikasa was like, nah, hands first, words later, or never. I feel like Stack was more like that, where it's like, you know, let's come to a common ground, and if we don't come to a common ground, then I'm gonna send my brother on you, you know? I feel like even with that, even with them being kind of opposites, they came together on the common ground that their people need a place where they can just put all their worries to the side. The goals were ultimately the same, but they just got there in different ways. You know what I mean? Smoke was the one that was in a relationship with Annie. They became straight after they lost their baby. And I will say, during the whole discourse of this movie, it was very weird when we start talking about the women of the movie. People thought that Annie was Smoke's mom when they initially met. And I'm just like, what are you guys thinking? One, look, if y'all watch Lovecraft Country, Marvel in the recent phases, One-Mi has been in almost every single one of those things, and she's been very popular. And I will say the MCU has been doing her dirty as far as glam, but One-Mi has always been a gorgeous woman. So I just found it a little bit weird that people were thinking that Annie was Smoke's mom among seeing her for the first time. And honestly, I think that that may be some unconscious bias that people need to unlearn about Black women, especially dark-skinned Black women that are more full-figured, and completely placing them in this mammy trope. She was quite literally a love interest, and that was apparent when they met each other. So I was like, that is actually insane that that was what people were thinking. Annie was definitely the heartbeat of this whole movie, in my opinion. I feel like she definitely guided everyone through, and I love that everyone respected what she had to say and listened to her, no questions asked, because she definitely was more well-versed and more knowledgeable on things more than anybody else was. Like I said, Smoke was, you know, guns first, words possibly never. So without even trying to figure out what's going on, he's just trying to resolve issues with violence. Stack was the twin that had the love interest, who was Mary. Now, Mary in the movie was a one drop rule type of Black woman in the movie. She was white passing. She was a white woman, but of course this is a different time where the one drop rule was not taken with a grain of salt. So I did love that point of view in the movie and how they introduced her character into the juke, because it was a different time. They always reiterated the fact that, you know, her being there was actually a risk in itself because she was white passing. This is a place for the Black community to come together and have freedom to dance and drink and just forget all their worries for one night. And so with her being there, it's kind of like the worry that if something happens to her, there will be people here that will come to reconcile whatever happened to this white woman that is here. But unfortunately, Mary wanted to be in that juke so bad. And I will say, I do think that she was the downfall of what happened. I feel like a lot of things were the downfall of what happened. But like they said at the end of the movie, like that stuff was going to happen anyway. But if we're talking before we even knew that information, I feel like Stack may be a little bit naive in some of the things that he does. So like I said, he wants to talk first, worry about the issues later, you know what I mean? So him and Mary kind of had a common ground with that, like, you know, let's just go see what's going on out there. He wants to listen to his brother and be like, you know, he's making a lot of sense, but just go talk to those people outside and see if we can bring some money in, because that was a issue in the movie where the people that were coming to the juke were working class citizens who only had like wooden coins that they would use in the market, and that was currency where they were from. But Smoke was looking to make some real money at the juke while also having it be a place where people can find freedom. But Stack was telling him, he's like, if you want this to work, we have to let them be comfortable first and even want to come here before we start talking money, 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 money. So anyway, I'm going off track. Smoke and Stack recruit a lot of people for the juke. They recruit Delta Slim, who they meet at the train station, offer him some Irish beer to just come play some music there. He was one of the funniest characters in the movie. One of the funniest moments in the movie to me was literally when they picked up cornbread from the cotton fields and he was talking all that smack about his wife, and then his wife was like, now hold on, what kind of money you talking? Because I'm gonna do some straights for some change. That part was absolutely funny for me. And literally they pick up their cousin Sammie, preacher boy. He was just a light and a beacon in the movie, and I just loved seeing his journey all the way throughout. But one thing about me, I love me an ensemble cast, and so that was one thing that I really appreciated about this movie, was it being an ensemble cast of just people that naturally blended well together, and you can tell that they just had so much creative freedom in how they shot this movie and how they interacted with one another outside of the script being amazing. Along the way, they also recruited Grace and Bo Chow, who were suppliers for, I think, the sign outside and, you know, the food and stuff like that to bring into the juke for Annie to cook, because they also recruited Annie to do the frying of the fish inside the juke. So they just basically recruited everybody that they knew to come together and make this thing work. Okay, so the dynamic between Smoke and Stack in the movie, I could say, was very close, but there were definitely some flaws, especially with their upbringing being so traumatic. And I feel like they have similar goals in mind, but different ways of getting there. How would you describe their bond? Would you say that it's like a very loving brotherhood, or would you say that their bond is a little toxic?
I say both have to go hand in hand for that, for like any brotherly relationship to work. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't have like a relationship with like a brother myself, but it's like I've seen brotherhoods where it's kind of just like Smoke and Stack. Like you have the one wild, ambitious one, then you have the straight thinking one, and they're kind of codependent in a way, but like they do need each other, especially like family, like when the parents are gone and everything, they need each other. So it's like a little bit of that toxic symbiosis is needed for their relationship to work, at least in this movie especially, and business, because
they did intertwine that, they did.
Yes.
And that definitely gets tricky.
Smoke was like the straight head that ran all the numbers basically and got shit done. Like that one scene where he shot the nigga just because they were trying to steal, and he was like, I can't let him know that he got away trying to steal from me.
And that's the principle. It's the principle.
Yeah, then you got Stack, who's he just wants to party, he just wants the money, he wants to be free.
Right. He's like the community outreach part where it's like, let me talk to the people, let me connect with
Yeah,
the people and keep them here and get them in. And Smoke is just
yeah,
like, you cross me, I'm
yes,
shooting. I'm shooting.
yeah,
You
yes,
gotta understand it's the principle.
and Smoke. There was like that one scene where they were giving away alcohol, and Smoke was like, "We need the money. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Like, ahead the
Taking those
game."
wooden tokens instead of like actual
Yeah,
money. Yeah. But it's like
yes,
you have to create the atmosphere first before you
yeah,
start making it money, money, money. So it's like those are the two things that they were like kind of butting heads on, but it's like just quiet smoke. We can handle this, okay? And even like
yes,
Annie and Stack were on the same page with that, where it's like as soon as that happened, they were like, oh my God, he's about to start tripping this city.
yeah.
They had to pull him to the side. So I
And
like that.
that's kind of what made Annie and Smoke's relationship work,
Hmm.
like in the end, because Annie also has like kind of a different head than Smoke.
Right.
She has like that more community like mindset, and Smoke was, well, again, business. So
Right.
that's what made them perfect for each other as well. So it's the
Right.
same thing with the Brotherhood.
I agree. So who was your favorite out of the twins? Was it Smoke or was it Stack?
It was Stack. It was,
Why?
it was
Why?
I don't know. I saw a little bit of myself in him. Sorry, viewers. Yeah,
Why?
y'all know what that means. Y'all know what that means. That's
Oh,
probably
hell no. Wait. No, 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 we're not
but
glancing over that. You gotta elaborate.
but no, I feel like I'm a little bit crazy, especially when I
Yeah.
go out with my homies. Like my homies will, some of my homies have like that straight face mindset, and I'll just be like the drunk one dancing and shit. Cue the clip. Nah, I'm
I'm
playing.
so weak. Okay, okay. So Stack, you related more to Stack. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Were there any scenes in the movie that made you change your perspective on any of the characters when certain things happen? Like in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning you felt one way, whether good or bad, and then towards the end it was like, whoa,
Who's the drunk? I forgot his name.
Delta Slim.
Delta Slim.
Hmm.
I think at the end, it kind of made me question, because like he was very like, he changed a lot
He
during the
did.
movie. Like he came from this has been drunk to more of a like straight. He was like an elderly figure, like a mentor kind of figure.
Right. Hmm.
Like he kind of turned to that at the end, and it just seemed like
He did.
you saw more of him sober a little bit. Like I feel like during the movie he was slowly sobering up, and the more he sobered up, the more like you kind of just listened to him and took his advice.
Yeah.
Especially when he was talking to Sammy about the music business and everything. He was a very well written character
I
who
think so
deserved
too.
better at the end.
Yeah. Because I could say even he even said out his mouth like he wasn't drunk anymore. I think when what was her
Yeah,
name? Grace was like doing all that hooting and hollering. It was getting crazy. She
yeah,
basically told him like, "Shut up, drunk." And he's like, I'm
yes,
not drunk anymore. So what I'm saying is really what I feel right now." So I can agree. And plus, it's like in a moment like that, you kind of do want a vice where it's like things just got crazy and you don't want to do anything. So it's like with a character like him, you would expect him to be like, okay, where's the liquor? We just go get through this,
yeah,
not dealing with it. But he actually was clear-headed. And then I guess spoiler, which this is going to be a full spoiler
yeah.
conversation.
We're already spoiling it by
He's
now,
like,
so you just might as well say it.
like he ended up sacrificing himself in the end. And it's like,
Yeah,
it kind of isn't his character to do something like that that you would expect in the beginning. Like he seems selfish, but he seems like he has like the greater good is always on his mind. So I can
exactly.
agree with that for sure. So the whole premise of the movie, like we talked about before, was that Smoke and Stack wanted to open up a juke joint so that they can have something for their people to just be free when,
Yes,
they're coming off from working or just whatever they got going on in the day. They could just come to
yeah,
the juke and eat some fried fish and drink some Irish beer.
yep.
So what do you think that the juke meant to the people that came to it outside of what Smoke and Stack were trying to create?
exactly what they said at the end, like in the post-credits scene, freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It was freedom because they were living in a time where we didn't have much.
Right.
We didn't have much of that, and having like one place where they can like take their shoes off, take their boots off, let loose, do everything they did. I'm not gonna get past those parts.
Do everything they
did.
You're certain about the freaking
In that
stack and
place.
berry scenes, yeah. And
Not even just stack and berry,
Pearly
pearly too.
Sammy.
Yup.
Exactly.
Everything.
That room needs to. I mean, the place is destroyed now, but they definitely, if that place was to continue, it needed to be hosed down every night for sure.
Yeah. I think that's like the only place that I feel like they probably would have been able to do so, other than a church at that time. There weren't many places like that outside of like the church. It was needed, so I feel like that's what the juke joint really was.
Right. What do you think is like the modern day equivalents of that? Or like, do you have any places like that you remember growing up?
I guess the movies now. Like now it's like the movies, because that's like the focal point of all my videos, and then like my life basically. I just go to the movies, and that's the one time I can let my imagination, my nerdness kind of like run free as to like during the day. I don't have many people to talk about it with, because when I do talk about it with people, they're just like, okay, it's
so weak.
It's not that crazy, not that good. I'm like,
it's like y'all wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get it.
Nonchalant. Yeah, it's like we're in a nonchalant world, so it's
like people don't want to be passionate about anything anymore. Like, okay,
exactly. So it's like the one place you can just break that barrier that you have to set during the day. So I think that the movies for me is like the place for me, but for some people that may be the club, for some people that may be a concert, for some people that may be even in their own home where they invite people over and they get drunk and just talk and watch Netflix. I think it differs for everybody.
I definitely agree with that. I feel like growing up, you know, we figured out we were both from California, but there used to be this park that I would go to in Long Beach when I lived there called Orizaba Park. Yeah, we used to go there all the time, but at the time, like it kind of just made me think about that. At the time, there was like hella community like outreach where it was like a program where they would like take us places like to the beach or and just like activities and stuff. And I remember when that slowly started to like be defunded, and it was just like, dang, like you can't just like go hang with your friends at the park anymore. And then like times just change over time, and it's like, oh my gosh. So that was like, those are some of my best memories. And it's like they said in the movie where it's like, before the sun went down, that was like the greatest day of my life. Where it's like I remember being there, and it would be like some crazy days, and it would just be some super fun days. And I'm like, that's kind of the best thing about stuff like that, is like I remember, you know, I go there, I don't know if it's gonna be a super good time, but when I look back on it, like, whoa, like take me back.
Gosh, we're getting older.
I know, literally. Please don't remind me.
But it's just different.
Yeah.
So like, having a place where you can just disconnect. Yeah. In a way.
And that brings me to this conversation. I've been seeing people get their Sinners DVDs now, and we're talking about how things are different than what they were.
We had DVDs, kids.
We had DVDs. So people are getting their DVDs because, you know, physical media is dying, and you might as well get a Sinners DVD if you want it. But people are complaining that the DVD menus are not as creative as they used to be. And I can't even think about the DVD menus that just like stick in my brain, because I haven't seen a freaking DVD in so long. I used to buy them when I was like a teenager from like the $5 Walmart bin, and I would just pick up any old random movie, but I didn't like deep the fact that the menus were like not as creative as they used to be. I think the ones that stick out to me when I was younger maybe is like Finding Nemo, or like obviously the Shrek one. But like they would just be very
Hey,
creative and
Shrek.
bring you into the movie. Like even like
Yeah.
recent Disney movies like Tangled and stuff. Like I remember having the DVD for that, and even the DVD menu for that was pretty intricate. But people were getting the menu for Sinners and were pretty much disappointed that it's just like the cover for the movie and then you just click, click, click,
Yeah.
get to it. So someone said if this was 2005, the DVD menu would be projected onto the wall of the club while Sammie and Slim played. Hitting play movie would have given you a short animation where the camera tilts up and through the club's burning roof. And I thought that was a pretty good example
Yes.
of what it could
That's
be.
a that's a great example. Now mine is gonna sound boring. Yeah, so
I'm so weak. Yeah, I was gonna ask. So, what would you think would be a good transition into the movie once you hit play, or like what would be your ideal DVD menu for Sinners?
I think you would start it off as soon as you get into the menu. You would start it off with everybody down. Probably that one scene where it started traveling through time of music.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have that transitioning into Smokestack and Annie and Mary at the bar, just watching everybody probably, and then you just have them just having a drink while you're trying to choose the menu.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
that would be fun.
yeah,
That reminds me of Finding the
yeah,
Finding Nemo one.
yes.
That's a good
They just
idea. What I was thinking would be like the horror direction where it's like you kind of show Mary and like the vampires like in the circle. Like in my mind I imagine like when
would
you
be a
hit
good one
play.
too.
Yeah, like, I imagine like when you hit play, it's like Mary running at the camera when she like ran out of the room after she killed Stack.
Yeah,
I was like, that would be very scary because I remember even like back then the horror DVDs would be like if you leave that on overnight and it just like loops and loops
would
and
be
loops.
insane. Oh my
That would be
god.
crazy. I feel like a horror direction would be crazy because like that stuff used to stick with me when I was a kid. When it would be like why are we leaving this on in the middle of the night? Like,
I only had Monster House and Coraline. Those are
oh
my
my
horror. Those are my
gosh.
horror DVDs,
Oh,
and
horror.
even
Well, Coraline was pretty
horror.
scary. Yeah.
Coraline, I almost didn't finish it. I had the 3D version too.
Oh, for sure. Sammie was more than excited to come and do this because his dad has been telling him, you know, put the music down. And he just feels like this is something that he really needs to do. So when he came to the juke, he was eager to play that music and he literally burned the roof off that place. And that was one of the best scenes in the movie, in my opinion. Pearline, who was Sammie's love interest in the movie, that scene with her song. Y'all, I saw it in its original format in IMAX. Y'all, I wanted to get out of my seat in that theater with that damn stomping. I was like, this is literally like, it's just something about a drum beat, something about a stomp, something about a clap that just make you want to move. Like, and I was like, how am I supposed to watch this movie sitting in my seat? Like, is it socially acceptable for me to get out of my seat right now? Of course, it was an extremely packed theater. I was not about to be doing that and ruin anybody else's movie watching experience. But that was another thing that I really liked about the movie, was that it was a musical. Now, of course, I'm talking about the trailer and how we were misled a little bit on what the movie was actually about. That movie was a musical, okay? I'm not a musical person. However, I do have my musical favorites. Hairspray, Dreamgirls, any Disney movie. I feel like that's kind of forced upon you, but you know, it's all right. So Princess and the Frog, Tangled, those type movies. So I'm not opposed to a musical, okay? I'm not opposed to a musical, but I was not expecting for this movie to be a musical. And music was quite literally the driving force for every single part of this movie. Annie literally goes through that speech where we're taken as Preacher Boy is singing his song, how music connects us to the past, the present, and the future. And there were just so many moments in that movie that I felt were just life-changing to me. Especially, it's like, when you watch stuff that is literally like, I'm watching this at the perfect point in my life. Like if I watched this at another time, I would not have understood this right here and it would not have resonated with me. And I am so excited to continue to watch this movie as I go through my life and maybe pick up things and resonate with things that I didn't before. This is one of those movies where I feel like it's so pivotal. And one thing I will say that I felt like with this movie, from Sammie's perspective, and honestly a lot of perspectives in the movie, but I'm gonna stick to Sammie. was that this was a coming of age film. I feel like a lot of people that are at Sammie's age or in a similar predicament as him could definitely see this as a coming of age film where you're kind of at this crossroads of what you want to do with your life. Do I listen to people that think that they know what's best for me, or do I actually do what I know is best for me? And then we see that he does, and it actually works out for him. And just going through and putting yourself in situations that you wouldn't normally put yourself in, meeting the love of your life, you know, stuff like that, and just going through romance, love, your future, and thinking about all those things. I was literally like, if you look at it from the lens of Sammie, this could definitely be a beautiful coming of age film for people that are going through that journey like him. And then if you look at Sammie from the perspective of Stack, I really do feel like Stack saw some type of hope in him, because I feel like they got the short end of the stick in their life. And so seeing Sammie just full of wonder and wanting to do so much better for himself, I think that they just wanted the best for him. Smoke definitely showed it in a different way than Stack, but I feel like just watching him play his music and seeing him do things that exceed what his dad saw for him was very inspiring to him. And it could have been some type of form of escape, but I definitely seen it as hope. Like when they look at Sammie, it's kind of how they see the juke, and that's why they recruited him to the juke, is because this is exactly the point of what we're doing. There are people out here that are held back by whatever, where it's preacher boy's home life with their own uncles saying, you know, you're either about to choose the church or the devil by going over there with that music. And it's like, well, he may not see it that way, but ultimately in choosing that, it's like, well, hey, if that's how you see it, Dad, then I guess I'm gonna just go over there and dance with the devil. You know what I mean? And then we see that him choosing that actually freed him, and his life was just so much better for it. Now, I didn't talk about all of that, and we have not got into the vampires at all, because have I mentioned vampires at all yet? I don't think so. But yes, this movie is about vampires. So the intruders that come into the juke joint and completely ruin everybody's night is vampires. We are introduced to Remick, who is an Irish vampire who is looking to consume Sammie's musical talents. In the part of the movie where Sammie starts playing his music, that is actually what summons him. That is actually what attracts him, because he wants Sammie's talents. Now, I will say Remick was one of my favorite parts in the movie. Outside of this movie being about community and love, and being a musical, this movie was funny as hell, y'all. This movie was so funny. Like, there were so many moments in this movie that were just like, why am I laughing my ass off? Like, Remick was one of those super funny characters. Cornbread, Delta Slim were like underrated, not even underrated, like perfectly rated, funny ass characters. When he was like, how'd she get in here? I was like, he's so hurt. He's so hurt that they don't want to hear his music when he came to this door. He's so hurt that he can't come inside. But it's like, no, you can't come inside. You're a vampire. Like, are you crazy? Anyway, Remick's whole point is to turn people into vampires, to consume their knowledge, to consume their talents, to be connected all together. And I thought that that was a very interesting take on the vampires in the movie. I loved the design of the vampires in the movie. Like, everything about the vampires I really loved. Now, I will say I'm not really a vampire movie watcher, so this may be my introduction to vampires and things like that in a movie kind of sense. So I'm not really knowledgeable on what the whole of vampire movies look like, but I personally enjoyed it. And that's where I kind of want to talk about genres, because they are a funny little concept, aren't they? Some people may feel confined. A lot of issues that people had with the movie was that it was being marketed as horror action, right? Horror vampire action. And when you watch the movie, that's kind of sort of simply not what you get. And I feel like that was a marketing issue, honestly. I feel like if we got Ryan Coogler to just talk about the movie initially, we would understand what the movie is about. And I feel like it's one of those movies that you have to see to understand instead of going with marketing is telling you. I'm gonna say from when I saw the trailer, I told you guys I thought the movie was gonna be bad, because I'm not an action movie girl. Like, I'm not. And the trailer was being marketed as action, action, action. They quite literally used all the points from the end of the movie in the trailer to make it seem like we're just about to be like guns blazing, fighting vampires. They even spoiled that Mary ends up turning into a vampire in the end. What the hell? That was weird. And what spoiled that for me was somebody saying that that was a spoiler before the movie even came out or before I saw the movie. And I was like, well, that just pissed me off because, like, I mean, let me see the movie first before you guys start talking about, hey, the trailer actually spoils that Mary isn't a vampire in the beginning of the movie. Thank you. Like, that's a spoiler in itself. You really did not have to say that because nobody would ever know. And that's the point, is that the trailer is very misleading. So I feel like it's one of those things. Y'all see I got Cowboy Carter in the back, where genres are a funny little concept. I feel like a lot of people want things to be boxed into a specific category, but sometimes the stories that you want to tell are not going to fit that genre because, yes, Ryan Coogler wants to make a vampire movie with horror influences and things of that nature. But more than that, what you can take away from this movie is the community aspect. You go through the movie and you grow to love these characters from start to finish. And yes, pretty much everybody dies at the end except for Sammie and Stack and Mary because they end up being vampires. But wasn't the best part of the movie just literally going through that whole journey of getting to know everybody and being in that juke joint? Wasn't it? One of my favorite lines in the movie, quite literally, was at the end where Sammie says that it was one of the greatest days of his life until the sun went down. That was the point in the movie that I literally started crying. Mind you, that's like a mid-credit scene. Like, I was just like, oh my God, I love these people. And then Sammie said that and I was like, man, because if y'all been through some stuff just like they have, it's like for real. One of the best days of your life somehow also is like one of the worst days of your life. And I was like, that is exactly why I love this movie, because it completely conveys that so perfectly, where it's like, you can have the best intention with the day, go into the day with just full hope and optimism, and that is not what the day ends up being for things that are completely out of your control, completely ending the day traumatized, right? But when you have hindsight on the situation, it's like, man, I wouldn't change that day for anything. Stack says that's the last day that he saw his brother. And I was just like, oh my, like, oh, that, I literally have like goosebumps on my arm right now. It's like, that scene was just like, man, because I feel like in life, you really do have to go through and cherish the people that you hold value in. And we see that even with Smoke and Stack leaving, they came back and wanted to give back to the community and the people that they grew up with, just to give them a chance at something. Like, they went, robbed, stole, and killed to make all this money. But in the end, they started giving the money back into their community to build something for everybody. Like, it wasn't just for selfish reasons. Maybe Stack a little bit, like, he still had the goal, but he was like, I mean, at the end of the day, we need to be making some money because this ain't gonna be sustainable. You know what I mean? But Stack was like, hey man, like, let's just have a good time. But in choosing to do that, right, you have no control over how the night is gonna go. They had all the best intentions, but then here comes Remick, vampire, summoned by Sammie's music, to be like, hey, I need that. He comes to the door. They start singing that Pick Poor Robin Clean song, whatever. I mean, they were doing decently, but it was all a sham. From the beginning, it was all a sham. He lets them know that, hey, these people I got with me are, you know, members of the clan. Their father sold you this place, and they had all intention to come here in the morning and completely destroy everything that you built. So you thought you had some, you didn't. Clock that. That's horrible, but it's like, it was just never gonna be a good thing from the beginning, no matter what your intentions are. They don't realize that they've already invited Mary in, who I feel like they completely let their guard down with that because they know her so much. So it's like they didn't think anything of it until it was too late. She kills Stack. She turns him into a vampire. Now Stack is a vampire, and now he's going after them. Cornbread, who was watching the door, goes outside to pee, gets turned into a vampire. Then they start questioning, hey sir, you're quite literally the bouncer that is the one that grants people access in and out of the juke. You're actually the one that granted Mary access into the juke. Why the hell are you asking us if you need to come inside with necessarily your whole job. That's why we hired you, buddy. You're the bouncer. Like, that part was so funny. Now, a lot of people had also issues with Grace and Bo Chow. Well, not even Bo. It was mostly Grace for her allowing the vampires to come into the juke. I'm not gonna lie, that part completely did piss me off. It literally gave me the same feelings as Infinity War when Peter did that whole thing, finding out that Thanos killed Gamora, and it was like, buddy, this isn't the time. And it's like, I do get it. She was low-key clocking at and was like, hey, your whole thing, you shooting people in front of my store because they're stealing from you, like, that's putting everybody in harm's way. That's causing a whole scene. Like, if I want to go get my daughter, I'm about to go out and get my daughter, and they trying to save your life by not having you go outside. But for the people you love, you would do anything. So I understood that for sure. But inviting all the vampires inside and then everybody dies, it was like, that wasn't very smart. But I do understand the hysteria. It was pretty crazy. I was like, she did make an enemy out of me with that move, but it was like, girl, I understand you. You just went about it a little bit wrong. You put everybody in danger from there. Well, I appreciate you. Of course, you saw Sinners. How many times did you see Sinners?
I only saw it once.
I only saw it. Same. I only saw it once in the theater, unfortunately, and then I had to rewatch it for this video. But what did you give Sinners out of 5, or what would you give Sinners out of 5?
I think I'm gonna have to stick with my original review. I think that was like a 4.5.
Yeah.
But I think it was a great movie. It was like very last minute decision for me. Like, honestly, I just woke up, saw I had points, and I went and just got a ticket last minute because everybody was talking about it on TikTok. I was like, yeah, fine, I'll watch it. So
that same thing for me. It was like, I seen everybody talking about it, and then I was like, well, because I saw the trailer and was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this movie. And then I'm like, everybody's talking about it's the best thing they ever seen. I'm like, oh, let me hurry up and get a ticket. And I actually got one for like super far away because I'm in Dallas and they had the like IMAX screenings in the original format, whatever. So I had to drive Uber super far away to even go see it. But I liked it. I liked it when I seen it. So it was a stark difference when it was like, I'm watching it on my computer on the website.
Yeah. Huge difference. Huge difference. Loud ass speakers, big screen. Exactly. I'm pretty sure the beginning got me, like with the speakers.
Scared the hell out of me. I was like, wait, is this really gonna be scary or what? Like,
no, because it was like just calming. It was just like calming. Then you just hear.
Yes, I jumped in a packed theater. It was a lot of moments like that for sure.
I ruined someone's date for sure because I was right next to a date.
I'm so weak. They're bad.
I jumped and they stared at me.
They're bad.
And I had a bad neck that day too, so like I was like just doing this the whole time in the seat.
In the cramps.
I ruined somebody's date for real.
You knocked over somebody's slushy, bruh.
Probably. But I was like, y'all, I gotta see some movie. I don't care, injury or not. I'm doing something.
Thank you so much, Jeremiah, for having this conversation with me. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, of course, it has been a long time coming. we're gonna do another one. We're gonna do another one now. Hey, y'all, we've our friendship has developed more, so we're gonna do more videos, definitely.
Exactly. This would be number 2.
This is number 2. It's number 2.
There's gonna be 3, 4, 5.
In 100.
Exactly, to 100. But tell the people where they can find you, what you do. Probably should ask you that at the beginning. Oh wait.
I just I scam people online, so you can find me find me at Jeremiah the Kid with 2 eyes on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, whenever that starts coming more. But yeah, you can find me there. Find me on Letterboxd as well, same name. And yeah, you can just pretty much find me anywhere. I just sleep, eat, and I do rug pulls. So
got you. Well, I appreciate you again, and thank you so much. I do also love the resolution of the movie where Smoke decides to just, completely go out, quite literally guns blazing on the KKK because they came to destroy what he had. And, whether it was the vampires or them coming to tear everything down, it was never going to be what they thought. So it's like, you know, I lost everything. Quite literally, Annie, he ended up having to kill her because she didn't want to get turned into a vampire because she had somebody waiting for her on the other side, which was their baby. His brother turned into a vampire. He never saw him again. So he was just like, you know what? I got my baby waiting for me. I'm just gonna go. And that he did. I absolutely loved the resolution of the movie. Unfortunately, I did find it a little rushed towards that end. Beautiful, beautiful ending though. Visually, everything was absolutely great, but I did feel like all that was like squeezed into the end of the movie, but it was beautiful. The music, I feel like, oh my God, like the music of that movie was so, like, some things you just hear and it completely makes your heart start racing and it kind of sends like electricity through your body, and that's literally what the music felt like throughout the movie. So the music was used perfectly in the movie as well. The shots at the end were absolutely beautiful. Like they completely ramped it up and it ended on a perfect note. I did stay for both end credit scenes, and a lot of people were saying that the very last one wasn't necessary, but I thought that it was, because it's literally how the movie started and how the movie ended, with him hearing them singing like "This Little Light of Mine," and I think he was singing "This Little Light of Mine" at the end of the movie. Like he chose the music. He went in there, they were singing that, he chose the music in the end. And then also, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but as soon as the movie started, they were singing "This Little Light of Mine" into the church. I was like, this is the exact same way What's Love Got to Do With It started, that movie about Tina Turner. And I was like, I wonder if that's intentional. Would love to ask Ryan Coogler if it was, but that's a very popular Black Church song, so maybe not. Maybe it's just coinky-dink, but I was like, that's very interesting. But anyway, I believe I gave this movie a 4.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, so thoroughly enjoyed it. Will definitely be purchasing this movie in any form. Absolutely enjoyed this movie. I would love to know what you guys think of this movie down in the comments below. Sinners was an absolute masterpiece and honestly a highlight of my year. And I'm so ready for us to get back to original films, please. I would love for us to get back to original films. Why do I keep saying original films? Because as we see, those movies will be successful. We are in an era of remakes right now. Some of them good, a lot of them bad, but it's just like, let's start taking chances on original movies because Lord knows we need it. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you would like to keep up with me outside of YouTube, you can follow me on TikTok or Instagram. All that information is in the description box down below. If you made it to the end, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the notification bell to stay up to date with posts and uploads from me. But for now, I will see you guys in my next upload. Peace.